First, we make sure everything still works because it's been about a month since I did this. So, first, we make sure everything still works because it's been about a month since I did this. So, all right, before that goes to an endless loop, what is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka Multimedia Jay, and welcome to Jay's Nerd Lounge. Just about 7 o'clock in the evening at the Geek House, and I'm rearranging controllers and stuff for the discussion about what's been going on, stuff along those lines, on this lovely New Year's Eve, also known as 12/31/23, also known as 123/123. So I'm here. So, you know, as a millennial, weird calendar stuff has basically been a recurring theme for most of my young and now not so young adult life. Y2K in 2000, when I went over some of my friend's house, we were playing Nintendo 64 on his dad's big screen with the surround sound system because he was a DJ, and he went to yard sales and bought people's old speakers and wired them together with an AV receiver and found a way to make it all work. Even though he was hanging like 80s like stereo speakers on the wall with like the woofer, the big woofer, the mid-range, and the tweeter, three ways. And he was using them as satellite speakers. And I thought my system was hack job. So Y2K, there was 666 in 2006, 777 in 2007, and there were all the number days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, and eventually 12, 13, 14 for December 13th, 2014, when I did a vlog back in the old vlog days, and I was like, I hope this calendar crap is over with. Well, here we are, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, not gonna happen again for the entire rest of my life, so... So anyways, so here's what we're gonna do. I have zero delusions whatsoever. Oh yeah, the Mayan calendar. Thanks, John, for the update, for jogging my rather addled old memory these days, even though I know people are like 41 isn't old, but you know, I spent the first chunk of my life thinking over 40 meant you were finally starting to get old. So if I need to break this habit, by all means, yeah, I know people are going to be like, well, what are you going to do when you turn 50? I don't know, but I'm already taking vitamins for people over 50. I'm already taking old people vitamins for people over 50. You know why? Because they're the only regular vitamins left at the freaking Walmart. Everything else is gummies. I go to the vitamin knowledge. I just want vitamins, right? I can handle old-fashioned vitamins that you have to swallow like a grown-up so it doesn't taste bad. Get me some regular freaking vitamins. This is the old people stuff is the only stuff left at the Walmart. Everything else is a gummy. I'm like, I just want to take a vitamin. I don't need a miniature Halloween every morning at breakfast just to get like vitamin C or something. You know, it's like look, this is Connecticut. We legalized marijuana, and I think the whole edibles thing might be going a little too far. I just want regular vitamins, but apparently only old people still take regular vitamins. So damn you kids, get off my lawn. Yeah. So on this 123/123, I think I'm going to have a little bit of fun, talk to you folks about how this channel is going, talk about some more stuff related to, you know, the whole PC gaming and the crossover with console gaming and stuff like that, talk about what I want to do with these computers, and of course why there's been lots of videos. And I hope that for the Logan 589 XPs of the world, who made fun of me at one point for doing too many streams, that 2023 has been the antidote for that honeymoon period I went through when I was doing far too much streaming instead of making videos. So it's let me go through some of the stuff the chat is saying too. That's how we'll have a nice little discussion here and just chill. But I have no delusions about being one of those streamers that demands your attention until the ball drops at midnight. I will not be doing that. I will respect people's plans. I'm on the East Coast here in the US. So unless you're somewhere in the ocean about to celebrate, unless you're somewhere in the ocean or something like that, or maybe the EU, something like that, or maybe UK or something like that. You've probably already celebrated the new year, so don't spoil the future all hour or two of it or whatever. So it's but I'm not going to be one of those stuck up influencers who thinks they can hog your free time on New Year's Eve. I will not be streaming until the ball drops. If I stay up at all until midnight, remember I'm a day shift guy. I was up late last night, went to sleep, still woke up like clockwork at 5 a.m. like I was going to work. And I was like, screw it. If I need to take a nap, I'll take a nap. I tried having a soda like I used to do in college, but it's barely done anything for me. So I may very well just zonk in front of video games until the ball drops. I can put something on screen too, like Live Now on Fox covering the New Year's celebrations, or maybe NBC will cover it or something like that. There's got to be a way for me to stream the New Year's celebration in New York City until the ball drops in Times Square. But really, I don't really care about watching a bunch of wackos partying in the streets, getting drunk, and just making a bunch of noise. It's like, the thing is, you know what we do with holidays as Americans way too much? We turn them into chores. Like, you must do this because it's this. You must do that because it's that. And then we wonder why we have problems with stress and depression and mental illness and stuff, because we're taking all the fun out of our lives. Look, I busted my ass to be able to have a day off from work on these federal holidays or whatever. So I'm going to enjoy it and do whatever the hell I want. Now, if you want everybody, you must do Christmas, you must do Thanksgiving, you must do New Year's, shut up. I earned this time. I earned this ability to celebrate. I'm going to enjoy it. Shut up. This is supposed to be recreational. We shouldn't be turning it into a job or into a drudgery just to celebrate a new year. New Year's is one of the worst holidays out there. What are we celebrating? A new calendar year. Wow, we're all older. Really worth celebrating. We got more gray hairs and aches and pains. Yeah, we're closer to the grave than we were a year ago. Let's get drunk and celebrate if we still can. Really now? Yeah, shut up about, what do you got? Any plans for New Year's? You gonna stay up and watch the ball drop? No, I'm not gonna foobar my sleep schedule just so some drunks in Times Square can go, woo, we're all older at midnight or whatever. Shut up already. Oh, man. No. So I will not be one of those people who thinks, oh, I'm going to be here till midnight playing video games. Stay glued to me on your phones. No, go out and enjoy your freaking New Year's. We're just going to have some fun before things really go crazy. Plus, I'm in a hick town. There's probably going to be people blowing off fireworks in the middle of the night. We already had idiots doing it during the day, which, what's the point of that? Fireworks that actually launch are illegal in Connecticut. The cops might show up if you blow off too many of them. Why on earth would you waste perfectly good fireworks blowing them in the middle of the day when it's still perfectly light out? What is there to see? It's like, save them for at night when it's got to actually be nice and pretty. What the hell? Save them for nighttime. Seriously. So yeah, New Year's, obviously there's alcohol involved, so there's going to be plenty of stupidity out there. And here in this hick town, we've already had some of that going on. If you hear anything that sounds like a kaboom or an explosion, it's somebody blowing off fireworks. If you see the house catch on fire, some idiot had a dud that went into my house like an incendiary missile, and I got to get the hell out of here and I'll be homeless. So yeah, screw that. Anyways. Thirstier than usual because I celebrated with pizza, which I don't do a lot anymore. Lots of bread and salt, which I don't eat a lot of anymore, so I'm not used to either of those. Keep the drinks handy. And no, this isn't alcoholic. I don't need to deal with hangovers. Don't go driving tonight. Absolutely not. It's like I'm saying here, party. this we do with we ruin holidays by turning them into you must do this, you must do this. No, screw you. I'm going to stay home and enjoy the fruits of my labor. I recently expanded my video game setup and I've got more gear coming in so I can have more consoles online without needing a bazillion Switch boxes or having to grab 5 remotes just to source select which console I want to send to the TV next. I got an automatic HDMI switcher on the way over with 5 inputs that I'm going to use for my more recent consoles. Probably have a composite hookup straight to the TV and stereo sound through ARC to Pro Logic 2 for all the old stuff. And I know the SNES can't go on the TV, but the the Super Retro Trio can, so I'll use that for SNES games and probably use an HDMI adapter for SNES. We'll figure it out. Or get a Retro Tink if we can ever get one of those. Or use a scaler or something along those lines. But anyways, so, no, I mean, I've gone to all the trouble to get all this fun stuff here. Let's have some fun with it. It's also what I've been up to when I've disappeared in between videos so much. Work, I have a job now where I'm not running around as much. I'm doing more with equipment now, so I actually have energy in the evenings and on weekends. So now I can finally get through some of these gaming backlogs that have been sitting there taunting and teasing me for years. So to speak. Even some retro stuff, like for example, I got the Sega 8BitDo. I got the Sega style 8BitDo controller, which is somewhere between the Genesis and the Saturn, and I've been using it for the Streets of Rage series in the Genesis collections on Steam, playing through the Streets of Rage series. And for some reason, I was never really into beat 'em ups when I was little because they weren't allowed. They're violent. They're gonna make you violent, so my stepmother said. Well, so now I'm older. Hopefully they won't. Duh. And I'm over here actually playing the Streets of Rage series and Streets of Rage 4, the new one that came out. Although for Streets of Rage 4, I eschew the retro controller for something a little more modern. Same thing with Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which I now own and don't just play through Game Pass. Picked it up on Steam. I also bought a month of Game Pass just to toy with the multiplayer on the Xbox that I have over that way somewhere, where the Series X wound up. Just it was originally to compare Forzas, but now it's, I might check out some Game Pass games that are dual ownership or dual install or something like that. Really depends on what goes on what. I don't know if I'm keeping the Game Pass membership, but one thing I do not have for the first time in years, Elder Scrolls Online. I stopped my ESO Plus membership because I have so much of everything else that I think I want to spend some time playing literally everything else. And I've got the controllers for it too. It's one of the reasons why, and I need to do a video about this at some point. It's gonna be 2024 in a couple hours, people. If you're a console fanboy, still wanting to do Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, shut up. You're an idiot. It's just... As a PC gamer, I'm not going to dunk on console people either. The fun part with PCs, you get a little of everything. It's worth it nowadays to get one of each type of controller for pretty much everything. And of course, I went nuts with the 8BitDos. The big one for me is this Xboxy one. The big problem is this is a multifunction controller. It can be paired up to multiple device types at once. So PC, X input, you can also do Android. You can even use this on a Nintendo Switch and pair them to all three at the same time. What I learned is even with the so-called for Android controller, the shortcuts when you to select a mode on these things is still the same. You hold like the X button and turn it on to select X input. B mode's for Android, and I think A mode is for the Switch. I forgot what Y mode was for. I think Y mode's for Mac. So you can literally take all of these 8BitDos and pair them up to different devices and then just turn them on in different modes to use this controller with multiple things. I just keep forgetting that and turning it on like a regular Xbox controller, and I'm wondering why it doesn't work half the time. Because it's in the wrong mode, that's why. The thing is, with two-player... I realize these controllers try to do stuff for two-player games, but, you know, I don't know about this hat switch in lieu of a proper D-pad on the Xbox Series controllers. I'm getting rid of my Xbone controllers because they feel like a rough draft of the Series controllers. Plus, for anything that... Whoops. I just paused my preview and went all the way back to the beginning. Live. So it's check beginning. Live. Good, that's working. Clicking stuff when I shouldn't be. Either way, for these, anything that's 2D, I tried playing it old-fashioned PlayStation style with the divided D-pad, but just couldn't get into it. Maybe if I play an old PS1 game or something, I might try it this way. But if I need a cross key, which is what this is, the plus button, if I need a cross key, I'm gonna break this sucker in. And of course I have the SNES and NES Game Boy style variants for other games if I want it to match, like say I'm playing like Castlevania Collection and I want to get the feel of an NES controller. I can get an 8-bit though, and I also have wired hookups for literally everything, including the original controllers. Before I went nuts trying to make everything wireless, I pretty much picked up wired setups for just about everything in the Hyperkin catalog, so I can make stuff feel like NES, SNES, anything over USB into a Wiimote for Wii U. So for the Virtual Console, which I'll be doing some stuff with now that I ordered that catch-up game package from eStarland to play all the Wii U games that I never got to play back in the day. I think I'm going to begin with the NES Remix one, since that's the most casual for, well, and I have an hour or two in the evening. But as a PC gamer, you get a little bit of everything, and you just build a system that has the horsepower to play at 1080, to play maxed out at 1080 on a big TV, and you've got a decent console experience. Because with these newer consoles, you run the risk of not getting your full frames per second when you're in 4K mode, depending on which one you're using. But 1080 is, see, if you look at this, I realize I've had guys like Logan preach to me about how I'm outdated for using 1080. I should be using 1440 or 4K by now. But no, you look at the Steam hardware survey, 1080p is still the most popular resolution out there. There's a very simple reason for that. It's mature and it's basically like DVD. It's everywhere and it's real easy to build something for. Like we just did with the old computer challenging the Xbox thing that we just did. If you want to get into PC gaming, your first target should be decent looking 1080p. Plus, with the crossover to mobile and cloud, I can't imagine there'll be any 4K phones anytime soon. Why would you need 4K on a 6-inch phablet screen? Seriously. It's like, I realize 1080 is old, but 1080 works. It's one of those it just works type things. So you do is you get this controller setups for them. So you start with your basics Xbox controller to start with, and then you get DSX, which now has full DualSense emulation in its latest beta to bring that adaptive triggers and stuff to wireless, so you can use a DualSense like you're playing a PlayStation 5. So you can actually use your DualSense. I love my Blackout Edition controllers, so I got one, even though I don't have a PS5 yet. So, get a DualSense, use a utility. It can also emulate Xbox 360's layout if you want to use it with other games besides the games that support PlayStation controllers natively. I could technically play Forza with this, but I mean, what's the point? It's an Xbox game. Switch to an Xbox controller. Also, don't put all the wear and tear on one rechargeable battery. Then, of course, for the older ones, then for older games and stuff where you're just mostly tapping a cross key and a face button and not doing anything with sticks or triggers, something like this. And in my case, because of the whole Genesis thing, with the Genesis collection on Steam, this. Because Sega had different buttons than Nintendo. Sega had different button styles than Nintendo. So I want to get the feel of playing this with a Genesis controller. And if I really want a Genesis controller, I actually have the USB one from Retrobit and an original 6-button that's actually a Sega controller. And I have the adapters to take all the original controllers from the original consoles and put them to USB. So if I want to play with a real Nintendo controller, Super Nintendo controller, N64 controller, PlayStation 2 controller, I have the option. That's the fun of PC gaming. You think about it, other than the box, if you can bring back all the other parts of the experience, including playing in 4:3 on a big TV, putting some scan lines on so it looks like a tube TV, or in the case of the Genesis game on Steam, you're in a virtual bedroom in the 90s, and you can actually play the games on a virtual television. It looks like you're staring at an old 90s tube TV. Turn on the scan lines, and you basically have a lot of that old experience, even though you're on a modern TV. So, console fanboyism is stupid. Anybody still doing it is just trying to get clicks on the internet at this point. They're farming for engagement, specifically negative engagement. You can get whoops, watch what I'm clicking again. You can get multiple style experiences through PC ports, and the first two PlayStations emulate very, very well on DuckStation and PCSX2. So you can digitize your first two generations of PlayStation games and play them with a DualSense and have PlayStation buttons at your disposal. So that's what I've been having a ball with lately. And anybody who wants to start like console fanboy wars and stuff like that, shut up. It's just stupid at this point. Let's play catch up on the chat before we get over to some of the other stuff here. Sony and the Discovery backtracked on Discovery content on PlayStation storefront. Too much negativity goes to show you can put these companies in check if we shout loud enough. The Sony's the last great console company out there. Xbox hasn't sold well, but Xbox is also hand in hand with PC gaming. So there's not much of a point to an Xbox Series console if you already have a PC that's better like I do. So the Series console I have is for stuff that specifically is in the Xbox ecosystem, like the Forza Horizon catalog, anything that can play through backward compatibility or anything on the Xbox side of things. But I compared the graphics, and GeForce, a newer GeForce, has texture, lighting, and other fancy effects above and beyond the APUs that go into the consoles. The consoles can give you 1080-60 with some nice, beautiful effects in Forza Horizon 5. The GeForce will do it better. That's just the way it is nowadays. So, you know what, this useless gaming... Well, I look like I'm in a call center. Yes, please hold while I transfer your call. Headsets, what am I doing? So, right. Either way, hope your 2023 is better than mine. It seems like a blur, mostly working and sleeping and all the crap that's going on. Hot summer, hotness stayed around, but now we have an El Nino winter, so only this coming Sunday, in a week or so, will we have our first chance of snow. I'll get the snow shovels out of the cellar just for the hell of it, but it probably won't be anything all that wild. It's an El Nino winter. We're more likely to get rain, and we're more likely to have things stay mild. And then maybe a cold snap when the air dries out and we get stuff from Canada. Sad, because I just bought a new set of snow tires because the old ones I had were dry rotting. That's what I get for using them year round during the pandemic years, when I'm just being like, oh, let's just not bother doing stuff because of the pandemic. And then the appointments at the garage got screwed up because of all the supply chain issues with auto parts and stuff like that. Either way, so yeah, that's gaming is a big part of what I'm doing when I'm not working on videos or anything of that sort. Not really much going on out here these days that I really want to get involved with, and so might as well just enjoy what I've spent years building up with this whole hardware setup. Even though it's very, very hack job and very, very piecemealed together, I've very much been winging it with this setup. Of course, I also have the Wii U controller over here, so can also play catch up on Wii U stuff. Let's get that stood back up. Stuff falling over on this desk. I gotta clean things up. Got the batteries charging over here too, because something had to move to fit the Series X into the setup. Gotta find a new home for these at some point later on. All right, so here's the story with this channel. There's lots of stuff that I meant to do months ago. First, let's talk about something extremely important for when the stream is over. Switch off to browser mode, link it up to Firefox, and let's go to the channel page here. So the thing with YouTube and watching streamers on YouTube is that the algorithms are still in play. Now, there is some crap going on with the algorithms on YouTube. And there's problems with Google and their ability to make money, because my ad revenue in December of all months got cut in half. Now, I have no clue what's going on with that. My ad revenue got cut in absolute half. And I have a very hard time believing that a company as large as Google is having problems selling ad space in the run-up to Christmas. I think something else is going on. The industry has shown signs of struggling with where things are going to land after getting out of the pandemic bubble boom, whatever it is. The pandemic bubble has burst. The question now is, how are things going to work now that people aren't stuck home and they're not sitting home making more use of online entertainment than they used to? But YouTube just continues being anti-creator, anti-creator, anti-creator over and over and over again. And I'm really sick of it. This whole thing with the ad revenue is a symptom, not the problem. We have things like getting more aggressive with ads, getting more aggressive against ad blockers. We also have the situation where YouTube, what was it? YouTube, the right to monetize, where YouTube will put ads on videos that are not in the partner program to make money off of them if they're appropriate. So YouTube has been very anti-creator. It does not surprise me whatsoever that they would try to murder my channel like they've been doing. In what other world do I gain subscribers for the first time in years, regularly see triple-digit views for the first time in years, and see everything else nosedive? In what world? It's ridiculous. So I really don't know what the story is with YouTube and whether or not they're getting ready to kick a lot of people out of the partner program or kick people off the platform or whatever. But this anti-creator nonsense needs to stop. And this damage control campaign on Twitter X needs to stop. Don't hire a so-called YouTube liaison who's just going to be an excuse machine and get emotionally distraught with people calling out and presenting evidence that YouTube is becoming anti-creator and stomping on people. Not just the little guys either, the big guys too. Right now, especially with Twitch Korea shutting down, there are numerous reasons why people who are losing their streaming home on Twitch should come over to YouTube. But how is YouTube really going to let Kick pick up this traffic? Little tiny startup run by Stake, an online casino, where the viability of the business and the real purpose of the business is questionable in terms of whether it's anything more than just some guerrilla marketing for the online casino that they run. Seriously. Either way, let's refresh this. So, for the first time ever, we got Hot Chubby, Sykkuno, Lily Pichu, and Myth. So what I did was I deliberately went out of my way to watch streamers on Screen 2 to tell the algorithm I want to see personalities above mainstream media and above 24/7 streams that you sleep to like Sleepy Cat over here. And it finally worked. It finally worked, and I'm finally starting to see people on here. However, this is one of the reasons why the people that double stream on YouTube see terrible numbers, because you have to go out of your way to train the robots to actually show you people instead of mainstream media. So if you watch the news through NBC News or Live Now from Fox, too much watch time will put the mainstream media at the top of this feed, and it's small to begin with. You have to click. Clicks always slow things down and cut engagement to see even more. Oh, look, there's Foosley. There's the Brownville Food Pantry for Deer, which operates only in the wintertime. They run bird feeders the rest of the year. And then everything else is jumbled together, and I have to scroll. So there still remains a UI problem on YouTube when it comes to streaming. Invalid traffic, says John. Yeah, that's correct as well, because I've been noticing the spammers and the bots on X and other places too, as well as fake accounts, engagement farming as well. That's another problem too when YouTube's trying to sell ad space and the people can call their bluff and say, how do I know all this traffic you have on your site is legitimate? So that's something for YouTube to worry about. If I worried about everything that I can't do anything about that's a YouTube problem, I'd never make anything on this channel ever again. So I took a look. Hot Chubby is doing IRL. Sykkuno is doing GTA RP. Lily Pichu, I haven't seen what she's doing yet, but Myth is doing GTA RP with his pastiche character that is pastiching XQC. The interesting thing here is Myth is a step ahead of what everybody else is doing with his YouTube streaming thing, because he doesn't require sender permissions in order to do a live redirect. So if Myth is still streaming, let's see what he's doing here. Philip Lengyeb. No Pixel.
Hi, is Glorton?
Oh boy. What is this,
Hi, Glorton.
Halloween?
I
If he's still doing this when I'm done streaming, we'll do a live redirect over to that stream and send the remaining audience over there after the closing song finishes closing. It'd be nice to use that feature for the first time ever, but you have to give people permission to raid your stream over on YouTube. So, all right, let's go back to my channel here and let's close the side panel, talk about what's going on. There are some new features that are interesting if people come to channel pages. Don't know how this looks on mobile yet because I haven't dug around with it too much. I could open up BlueStacks and check it out that way. But I don't really noodle around on my phone very much. I'm mostly checking email and Facebook on breaks at work. Suppose I could see what the mobile version of this looks like on BlueStacks to put it on a nice big screen. But for you, now, I don't know why it's doing all streams for me. For you is supposed to pick stuff that the system thinks you'll be interested in. I don't know why it's doing all streams, but maybe because I've been doing so many of them. But when this is more refined, this should help with things. I understand Twitch also has a discovery queue as well. They're trying to improve discoverability, but that's because they have competition and they're getting their ass handed to them and not making enough money. So, plus Amazon, if you've seen the changes with Amazon Prime following Netflix's lead and putting in a tier for ads so you can have some commercials in your online video, basically TV all over again. Woo! The thing is, if you've seen what Prime has done, it makes me wonder if Amazon is having problems with the higher borrowing costs and interest rates. So maybe Amazon's kind of struggling too with the bubble bursting, the pandemic bubble bursting, and that might eventually affect Amazon Prime and also Twitch Prime and the integrations with Twitch. But we'll keep an eye on that. I'm mostly interested in what to do on YouTube for the time being. Either way, as I totally dry out my throat in what's our lifetime at? I got it off the side of the screen. Oh, there we go. 34:52. As I destroy my throat in a half an hour, because I haven't streamed in forever, and I totally ate the wrong stuff before going live. Let's take a look at the way things are right now. So we have catch up on the latest videos, streams, Jay's Notes, and other YouTube shorts. I've had these plans for a series of shorts for a while called Jay's Notes, where I throw in something real quick and send it around the YouTube Shorts circuit. I've also had some other ideas for YouTube Shorts as well to integrate YouTube Shorts into what it is that I do a lot more than just a joke clip every so often. There's an entire TikTok front over on YouTube these days, and with the questionable status of TikTok, especially with their ties to China and everything, and the question of whether or not to ban TikTok in America and where to ban it, a competitor that is more local, so to speak, has plenty of opportunity, and Facebook's been pushing it with Reels. Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, Meta has been going wild with that stuff. But so it's basically videos, streams, shorts. Then we'll have other sorted randomness, which is the Quicko Flicks and random style and everything else that goes in there. Satire cartoons, if I ever go back to Plotagon. Plotagon's been getting kind of screwy lately. Classic YouTube, if I find an old video that looks like something from my era of YouTube, 2000s and 2010s, it's probably in there by now. The rest we have cat videos, and then stuff from streams is over here, but I don't really intend on having a situation where I'm extracting stuff from streams to make into videos very much. I'm more likely to make videos from scratch, and that's where we start getting into some of the other stuff with what's going on down here. So videos, streams, Wacky World of Multimedia J has its own series playlist here. And we have some idiot driving by in a car with a sawed-off muffler. That's how you know it's New Year's Eve. Let's play some stuff. Last time I did a game stream was 7 months ago because of what happened with the Morrowind theme when I tried doing Morrowind 20 years later. So we have, the thing is, I want to upgrade to fiber. Now that Frontier has 500 fiber for 40 something a month around here, it's probably penetration pricing to build up a customer base, and they might raise the price later. but that basically outcompetes cable. They've been around for several months, better part of a year now. They might be to the point where they're getting some of the kinks out of it. I'm going to do some reading on that, make sure that's actually happening, and then make the switch to something synchronous at 500 to start, which will give me more than enough bandwidth for 1080p game streaming, where even if it lags out and flakes out, there'll probably still be enough leftover bandwidth to send the signal over. So I will chase after more of a robust gaming presence between what this new computer can do with its more robust multi-core processor, as well as what I could do with the Elgato box if I hook all the consoles up and capture them all at 1080p. I will take a look at that and set things up for Play Some Stuff to make a return after upgrading to fiber internet. Now, the biggest change will be the Multimedia J vlog, which has meant many things over the years. Some of you folks who've gone to my channel page may be wondering why it is I have this playlist that stops 2 years ago with some of those Nick Nimmin style videos I was doing talking about content creation. Well, the reason is I've had plans for a while to put together a template. For, if you remember the old Tech Syndicate update videos before Logan and Wendell, who's now level 1 techs, had their little argument and went their separate ways. If you remember the kind of commentaries that they used to do, that's something I want to do more often, where if I feel like chiming in on something, I mean, we had the radio style series like this for a while, but I would like to set something up that's more algorithm friendly to have these kinds of discussions and get ideas floating around the algorithm. Because one of the big problems I have with what it is I've been doing, Wacky World of Multimedia J kind of put itself together about 10 years ago in 2013. The algorithm doesn't know what to do with this stuff. Let's be blunt. This is old-fashioned YouTube. Most tech videos are nothing like this. Excuse me. And familiarity and pattern creation has a lot to do. Familiarity and pattern creation is a lot of what computers do because they're math machines at their core. So if the problem, and this is one of the reasons why algorithms are such a problem with these platforms, is that creativity gets crushed. If you do your own thing, you're not going to get views because the computers don't know what to do with you. Now, the YouTube liaison guy and his buddies on Twitter X and everywhere else who do damage control for YouTube, they like to talk about how the algorithm is just whatever, but I call it out for what it is. It's a digital middleman. The algorithm is a digital middleman that determines whether your channel goes anywhere or not, whether you get views or not. And there's a reason why so many large channels are essentially making the same video over and over and over again. Because the algorithm is a computer. It's fundamentally stupid. And if it doesn't know what to do with content that is too different, it runs home to mama and does pattern recognition. This is why on YouTube and Twitch, I've been hooked up with numerous streamers and YouTubers to watch who are stylistically similar to someone else. It's just the name of the game. So what I'm missing on this channel is something that could possibly be more welcomed by the computers in the new YouTube of the 2020s without ticking off people who are more used to this. And so I think commentaries are the way I'm going to do this. These are going to be videos that are done with the streaming equipment that resemble stream clips, but they're not. If I'm doing them well enough, people might be asking me what stream they're from, when in reality, I want to do the commentary from scratch to get more to the point than I ever would during a stream. But I mean, we see 3-digit view counts nowadays, but fundamentally, it is rare. It is absolutely rare. Close the darn queue. It is absolutely rare that any of these really go anywhere anymore. And the tech videos have never pulled their weight when it comes to views and especially ad revenue. These things are the absolute bastard child of YouTube in terms of what they are and whether the computers know what to do with them or not. Now, more recently, as YouTube has worked on their own systems, I have extremely slowly been introduced to channels, few and far between, that make the same kinds of videos that I do. And they don't get hardly any views either. So bottom line, these kinds of things are something that the computers don't know what to do with. There is no way for this channel to get any viewers except once in a blue moon by doing this. Which is one of the reasons why, after 10 years of doing it, I decided to make this into a legacy series. Would have done that this year if it wasn't for the way the summer went. I assure you, I'm running out of big projects to make tech videos about. When we're over the hump with the big projects, we will end this series and start a new one, which will be Legacy. People will probably like it. People will probably like it more than what I'm doing right now, because it'll incorporate all the things that people have liked the most over the years. So, but fundamentally, this once in a while, I don't want to do this more than once in a while at this point, because quite frankly, nobody knows what to make of these. In a world, excuse me, in a world where Linus Tech Tips has had undue excessive influence on tech videos, in a world where Linus Tech Tips has kind of set a standard that has turned tech videos into situations where all that changes is the names and faces. You watch somebody's video on XYZ tech product, you've probably seen it before with XYZ other product. So you have all these people out there trying to play the algorithm by making the same stylistic type of video. It's all a giant pastiche fest, because computers fundamentally do not have creativity or common sense or anything human about them. They just work with patterns and mathematics. If it doesn't know what to do, it runs home to mama, which is mathematics and patterns. And so you will see, if you appear to show an interest in a certain style of video, eventually the algorithms will recommend people who are very, very similar, sometimes in really weird ways, eerily similar ways, as if creepy uncle algorithm has been doing their job in terms of, oh, you like this person? Let me find all the other people who most resemble them, get you watching them in case they quit. Seen plenty of that on YouTube and Twitch, even Facebook. If you like a certain kind of the way someone presents themselves and the style of video they do, you're probably going to start seeing people who do all kinds of other stuff. I've been seeing that lately with Zoomer commentaries on gaming. I watched a few channels of people in their early 20s talking about Xbox and PlayStation stuff while I've been working on this setup, and now suddenly I can't get these young people out of my feeds because of this. It's weird algorithm stuff. Look, there's a lot of people on the internet that take technological issues way too personally, as if it's some kind of personal failure of their own, that the systems work the way that they do. No, it's computers. YouTube is not a world where, oh, I can't get on TV, so I'll just be a YouTuber. No, it's a digital matchmaking system. The systems may not know what to do with your stuff, period. So, anyways, this vlog thing, originally, every single video that I did that wasn't a gaming video was put into the Multimedia J Vlog. Then I did a vlog series for years. I'm bringing back the name, and to use it probably permanently for commentaries. Commentaries done with the streaming gear. So the people that hate that I started streaming, they're going to hate me even more in 2024. But if you pull your head out of your ass and you take a look around YouTube, you're going to see numerous other people on here doing exactly this. When they've got something to say, they don't make this weird audio thing with a picture on it like I used to do and pretend they're on the radio. They do a commentary video with streaming gear. There's so many, it's just videos versus streams been a thing for years. Some people take it a little too personally, though. Do you really want someone spending a ton of time putting something together when there are radio hosts and podcasters doing commentary videos outside of tech stuff and getting audiences with it? Sometimes we need to pull our head out of our asses and stop acting like we're the only people on the face of the planet, because we're not. What do we have here? Liked the recent videos and how things work with smart bulbs. been watching game videos, and I'll get more of it. See, that's the thing. But what's missing on this channel is something that modern YouTube actually knows what to do with. That will actually introduce me to to people who are in the TikTok generation, or people that are who are into the new YouTube, that wasn't born from the 2000s and people building little weird personalities of their own and their own little style. There are standardized styles for things. And do I really need something super fancy to talk about a development like, for example, what happened, some of the anti-consumer stuff Sony's been doing, or the relative status of PlayStation versus Xbox, where PlayStation is the last great game console out there in terms of it being a big walled garden ecosystem that's been around for years and people trust, and they put out good hardware, and they won the supply chain wars versus Microsoft. And maybe people have really short memories. Once upon a time, the Series S was the only console you could get. But we know that McDonald's toy that only does 1440p is basically the Wii U of today's console gaming world. We know that. So eventually, when the supply chains actually started getting fixed, we started seeing the real consoles that should have been on the store shelves since 2020 finally start showing up. And you know what happened first? PS5. Series X had some problems with the controller, and then there were problems with the supply chain. So of course the PlayStation has outsold the Series X 3-1, and now Microsoft's having to deeply discount it, which brings the $500 console into the $300 range. So you're talking about a device that's like a miniature gaming PC of a gaming console. Reminds me very much of the computers that I build. No wonder I bought it. Costing me as much as the Wii U did. Now factor in the inflation from about 10 years at 3% a year, plus more from the last couple of years because of the supply chain problems that caused inflation as a result of COVID. Inflation is when too much money chases too few goods. And we've had multiple years where the supply chain disruptions put too few goods on the market that people could spend their money on. And then wages went up and all kinds of other stuff happened. So, of course, we have an inflation situation and the Fed's trying to get it back under control. There's just, you just got to have a business background and know this stuff. There has been too much money chasing too few goods and services. And so when we fix that balance, we'll start seeing things cool off like we've been seeing. What else do we have here? PS5 removing content. That's what I was thinking of. It just slipped my mind because the days have been blending together as this year has come to an end. So, yes, the digital ownership issue is a biggie for me. But, I mean, I don't know if I really mind the key disc problem with the Series X anymore, as long as I can have basically a piece of DRM which validates that I own something and should be able to play it. So that's one of the reasons why I specifically got the Series X, is because I wanted to get something with a legacy optical drive for when these folks try to make Steam boxes and take everything digital. Of course, I have a mix of physical and digital games anyways, and I love the convenience of digital. Most of the time, when I am rebuying a game on a digital service, it's been for less than what I paid for the original cartridge or CD. So all these people crying about, you don't really own anything with digital. Well, would you rather? Yeah, well, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Take Earthbound on Super Nintendo. I have it on the Virtual Console on the Wii U. It's available on Nintendo Switch Online. So if you want to play some Earthbound, why wouldn't you buy like a month of NSO and then turn off your subscription when you were done with it? Or try to get it done in a month and then turn your subscription off. Pay essentially that versus what a cartridge goes for these days. What about emulation? Yeah, well, that's always been a thing. I knew folks in the 90s when the Super Nintendo was still a somewhat current console that were running ZSNES. That's beside the point. But on the legit side of things, that doesn't involve downloading stuff that Nintendo gets mad at you for downloading. Let's see here. I'd rather not spend $100 on a game. The $60 games have been a thing for years. with 3% or more of inflation every year. Technically, games are getting cheaper. The real fight is over wages keeping pace with inflation and companies not ripping you off the longer you work there. You got these corporate types that are like, how come millennials are job hoppers and they don't stick around more than a few years? Because it's more financially advantageous to essentially turn every job you have into training for your next job, because companies are not investing in people. It's a constant fight to get them to invest in anybody or reward anybody for seniority. It's rare if you find anywhere where sticking around a long time is in any way worth it. So, but yeah, I'm getting into the commentary scene. I mostly have the template put together. I mostly have the template put together. So I'm going to get into the commentary scene, and we can take a look at these kinds of things. And this will fill up, and you'll probably see these as well as their YouTube Shorts counterparts more often. For the YouTube Shorts, yes, I'm going to put them on the same channel. Yes, I'll put them on the same channel, but YouTube's working on personalizing the notifications. So if you don't want to see people's new YouTube Shorts, you could actually turn that off. Don't know if they have it live yet, but I'm not in a rush to make very many YouTube Shorts anyways. But short form is definitely something to figure out. And I'm not going to be a dinosaur that never takes the time to try and do it. And of course, you have your popular videos here where this channel is what it is, but the washer and dryer video still dominates. Oh, spare me, man. Even my little jokey Forza Horizon 4 with no graphics card thing from 3 years ago is climbing the charts now. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm caught up on the chat. Now, speaking of which, speaking of videos, let's get something out of the way here. Let's talk about a little something. Mute that. I'm sure you folks have probably seen oops. Hi, Pizza Hut. I'm not supposed to do this, but it's Firefox. So I'm sure some of you folks have probably seen this. See, let's back it up a bit. There we go. I'm sure some of you folks have probably seen me rearrange the credits and have 2 speeds to them. This is because the new Corel Video Studio is bugged and can't scroll credits properly. So I flipped them around. I'm going to put whatever message I want people to read at the end after, you know, what music was in there and other stuff. Because this program, seriously, we should get discounted, very highly discounted or free upgrades to the next Corel Video Studio. This is the buggiest Corel that I've ever seen. I've had numerous problems with it. Stuff where the audio wouldn't fade out correctly, stuff where my file went corrupt and I had to regenerate the whole thing and stuff like that, and all this other rubbish. So this is just for everyone that's been seeing this is not on purpose. I could theoretically have credits that fade instead of scroll, but if you do this PowerPoint style off the bottom to off the top scroll, you will always slow down when you're almost done like this. So while I'm stuck with this until I switch to something else or get a new type of software or something like that, because of this, I will continue having this 2-speed thing. I'll just put whatever used to be on top at the bottom, and you'll just zip through all the songs and get the message at the end, and then here comes the end screen. And you'll have something to click on to go to something else. That might actually work out better too, because people usually click away when it's like, okay, that's all he had to say. Now he's just saying what music was in it and stuff. But reversing it, because of this bug might actually help with the click-throughs on this as well. But I got to figure out the click-throughs too, because I want an easy way for people to watch entire series without playlists. So we might do something like that as well. Oh, Saikuno. Yeah, Saikuno is still streaming, but he doesn't have permissions for people to do a live redirect to him. So anyways, that's the story with the channel. That's the story with the channel for 2024. And I can't close my Firefox, so I'll have to right-click close it. That's the story. Oh, that's because I had the live control. Oh, I had OBS covering up the close button. I'm still a grasshopper sometimes. What do you have? Washer and dryer video, electric boogaloo. What? What is this? 80s? What is this? 80s night? Ladies night? 80s night? I don't know. Yeah. Crazy like that. Either way, yeah. New Year's Eve, almost 8 o'clock. Almost 8 o'clock here. But that's where things are going to go with the channel here is, yeah, right now, though, in order to progress to the point where I can order the fiber internet, there's a bunch of tech projects and rearranging and other stuff that I have to do. So we'll get that done. And we'll also start up these commentaries as well, because there's so many things that I'd love to chime in on. And you folks would probably love to hear what I have to say about some of these things. But I just don't have the template together and the stuff to upload them. And I could probably upload them more often than I've done with these tech projects. Same thing, too, if I don't really have anything exciting going on with hardware and just want to game for a bit. And why did this camera screw up on me again? I thought I had it on manual focus. Switch it back to auto, switch it back to auto, and then switch it back to manual, and then so long. Hangover test, anyone? I don't get it. Maybe it's time to replace this camera too, or get some firmware for it that's better. I don't know. Works great in low light though. More than I can say for most of the other stuff that I've had over the years. But that's the situation. That's the situation with this channel. And where we're going from here, we'll do more videos, do some streaming. A lot of the streaming is gated behind upgrading to fiber, which is very price competitive with cable and stuff. Speaking of Nintendo, I've seen the Nintendo videos and it was fun. My interest in Nintendo depends on what comes after the Switch. Quite frankly, I mean, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch here. The only reason the Nintendo Switch had any decent games was the Wii U. Like, many of the biggest games on the Switch during most of its existence were the ports from the Wii U. So I just picked up the much cheaper Wii U games, can play them baseline with no DLC. Maybe check out the DLC if I play catch up with Switch later, but it really depends on what Nintendo does. Part of the problem, and this is the thing, is the Ouya effect. If you remember the failure of the Ouya, What's-Her-Face, the CEO of the company at the time, did a speech about how incredible the Ouya was. And people were like, it's amazing how she doesn't seem to know what a PC is. PC gaming is incredibly versatile, and it's easy to get into if you're going to make a 1080p box that rivals the consoles. More upfront investment and more expensive, but counterbalance that against paying for something like Game Pass. So it's one of the reasons why Xbox Live had to be upgraded into the Game Pass service in the first place. And the whole game service thing, too, though, only makes sense if you don't have a giant backlog of games that you could already play. Yeah, it's cool that I can download stuff on Game Pass and play it, but I have so much stuff going back at least 20 years that I haven't done enough with yet. I could be perfectly fine never playing another MMO again, never doing another Game Pass thing again, just playing what I have. Even in today's world, even if I hook the original consoles back up for PS1 and 2, instead of running the emulators off of digitized games from my game collection. So, just wild. Fundamentally, though, you have decades of games represented across these digital services, with Steam being probably the best of them. That's why they're number one. GOG has some older stuff with DOSBox and other emulators for older DOS games. The biggest losers would be, say, the Windows XP era. I tried running Command & Conquer Red Alert 2, and no. It was made to run at 640 by 480 16-bit color depth. There is a new front end similar to Morrowind that will play the game on modern computers, but that's an added step. It's not as simple as, say, firing up Psychonauts on Steam or getting some kind of re-release or something like that. But seriously, gaming is what it is. Gaming is what it is, and PC gaming is incredibly robust and flexible, and because so much of it is account-based, you can move your collection to another device very easily if your current device needs to have something fixed in it, as opposed to sending out your Xbox or whatever. So yeah, PC gaming has its merits. It very much has its merits. It absolutely has its merits. And so for 2024, what we're going to do is we're going to look into diversifying things and getting more in line with current YouTube without making annoying, overly produced videos that all sound the same and have sponsorships and garbage that everybody's sick of in them. I just want to chime in on stuff and let the merit of what I'm talking about. Basically, I just want the merit of what I'm talking about. Oh, there's myth. I want the merit of what I'm talking about to be the reason why people either like or don't like me. Either way, like I said at the beginning of all of this, as I save these changes in the live control room, like I said at the beginning of all of this discussion, it is 8 o'clock at the Geek House. I don't want to be one of those stuck-up jerks that commands your attention on New Year's Eve. You folks probably have plans to go out and have fun, so I'm not going to step on anyone's toes, and I probably won't be up until the ball drops anyways. I'm going to relax a bit, enjoy the fruits of my labor. I've dialed in Mythstream for his GTA RP for live redirect, so stay tuned past the closing song to be sent to Mythstream. He's one of the YouTube streamers that I've been checking out lately. With the upcoming closure of Twitch Korea, there's a whole bunch of people out there that are experimenting with YouTube streaming, like Hachubby was one of the trailblazers here. They're experimenting with double streaming. And I'll say this to these streamers who are annoyed with Twitch and using the relaxed rules on multi-streaming to give YouTube a try. Put in the effort to come to YouTube and I'll watch the YouTube stream. Bring some life to your quieter YouTube chat because YouTube doesn't have the streaming thing down as much. So, Mike sent something in last second here. Glad you're one of the dwindling talking head channels who has Subway servers in the top half of the stream. I don't know. Either way, you'll be heading off to Mythstream for GTA RP. I've never used live redirect before, so this is a first. But Myth is giving people permission to rate him, so go show him some love. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2024. Until next time, this is Multimedia J signing off. Thanks for stopping by.